Before we get started, I'd recommend that anyone interested in this show listen to an episode of Radiolab titled Unraveling Bolero. It's a really interesting story and provides some additional context to appreciate this show on a higher level. I'll put a link to that at the end of this episode. In this episode of Drill Design Breakdown, we're going to spend some time with the Cavaliers' 2018 production on madness and creativity. As you might expect from the title, the two themes of madness and creativity push and pull against each other throughout the program. That same dynamic is reflected well in the drill design for this show. Visually, the colorful members represent creativity, and the members marching in black, the madness. The show opens with this organized set as the prelude to our descent into madness. This rapidly dissolves into these small groups which represent disconnected thoughts. These disconnected thoughts briefly reorganize into order, immediately followed by members crossing over one another in a confused state, followed by a symmetrical set of forms right on the 50, invoking a Rorschach test. Then we get into this form, which I can't really parse. Is it a side-eye? Is it just a regular arc, but we had to shove the battery to the other side for future sets? I'm not really sure what's going on in this set, and it feels kind of out of place. Then, our lines representing coherent thoughts bend and break and reform into the groups of disconnected thoughts once again. Musically, the snare line, a group that usually plays in complete unison, is playing a split part, further underscoring the theme of disconnected thoughts Next, we see the first incarnation of this web-like form branching out from the center and connecting ideas represented by the gray boxes. Now, our colorful guard members representing creativity enter the scene and begin to visually cut through the madness and then release more creativity from the cage on side B. Once released, the rigid madness still takes hold, but the creativity and color begins to become a part of our character on the right. It conforms, but it's clearly different. As the madness has created more permanent connections on side B, the core on side A continues to attempt to connect the gray box on the back hash on the 20 with continued rigidity of the form. At this point, creativity introduces curves, forcing the madness to bend, providing contrast to the very harsh forms of the red tarps. However, the curves never really return as a motif, making this picture an outlier in the entire production. It's striking how we never really see what I would consider classic, sweeping drum corps forms anywhere in this show. Alas, it's short-lived as the rigid madness returns, forming even more strong connections while simultaneously dispersing the creative color guard. At this point, the entire core forms a swirling mass of confusion right in our center, and that also reverses course to further the idea of confusion swirling around our central core being. Now the madness begins to connect with and explore the creative mind and release it, but the madness returns one last time, trapped stronger than ever by the thoughts represented by the tarps. Musically, we get a very Cavalier signal that we've reached a turning point in the show. The spinning forms within the bounds created by the tarps depict the internal struggle between the two forces, against which creativity quickly demonstrates a resounding victory with the reveal of the colorful tarps. Color bursts to all areas of the field. Vertical lines representing clarity return briefly before one final musical blast to bring the show to a close. For the price of just one drumstick per day, you can adopt one of these poor tenor players. Thanks for watching Flametime's Drill Design Breakdown. Like this video and subscribe for more great drum corps and WGI content.